is what we call
hater shit.
There is no better term.
Get in the habit of just hanging out with your child. Resist the urge to overschedule or occupy time. Make space to just be, to talk, to share a snack, to go for a walk. Our children want our time far more than anything else. 100% agree with that. Most definitely. Not sure why she's posting it. Heather says, I pray every single day for this gift. What you doing about it, Heather?
So,
do you think it's fair for schools to take away a kid's phone?
My son got his phone taken away.
Oh my gosh, how long ago was this? Are we seriously talking about that? I need to...
In school today and has...
Again? You gotta take... Shh.
So, my son got his phone taken away in school today and has 4 detentions because...
Oh, hell no. I'm sorry, Mama Bear. I cannot. 4 detentions? What the fuck is going on?
So, my son got his phone taken away in school today and has 4 detentions because he had his phone out in class.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
He is 15, going on 16, and
what?
I just don't know what to do with him.
Well, y'all better do something. Y'all better fucking do something. My golly. Like, I'm not trying to compare this shit, but obviously there's a problem. Like, there's a kid I'm pretty close to who has a lot of ISS, and I know there's problems in that household. I'm not saying, oh, Lord have mercy. I ain't saying nothing's going on in the household that he's in, but whoever is taking care of that boy needs to step up and do something else. I don't care who I piss off saying that, but I'm saying it for the kid.
Teacher has a pouch on the back of the door for phones because apparently some students were having difficulty with notifications going off, not checking them. But he doesn't like to do that. And so they locked his phone up for the weekend. So I had to call and he said they wanted a meeting. I get off the phone with them and the dean tells me, well...
Wait a second. Why is she talking to them? I don't understand. Why is she calling and talking to the dean or the principal or whoever she's about? What is she saying? Why was she involved? The boy's been through a lot of shit, so people need to make sure he's doing all right. Seriously, that's not cool. That's not cool. He don't need to be getting away with shit like that.
They locked his phone up for the weekend, so I had to call and he said they wanted a meeting. I get off the phone with them and the dean tells me, well, basically your son brought in an extra phone because he has anticipated getting caught on his phone, and it was the extra phone that they confiscated, not his real phone.
So all I'm saying is, if something's going on like that at school with any child, we need to make sure things are going on okay, like, at the house, okay? I'm not, like, saying something's wrong at the house, because I know kids will be kids, and there are some kids that just want to try the hell out of you and, you know, see how far they can go and test your last nerve. But there's some kids who want any attention, whether it's bad attention or not.
Here's my thing. If it was his real phone, I feel like that would have been excessive, taking his real phone for the whole entire weekend as the school. But since it was his extra phone, it's like no big deal. But like, would they have still taken it for the whole weekend if it was his real phone? Who knows, you know? But I think that schools are justified in confiscating the phone just for the day. I don't know about the weekend, though. What do you guys think? All right, so you guys have been hearing me for the last few days talking about Turning Point USA.
Her eyes have been so big all day. I wonder how many people have been complaining about her being on her phone.
So, Turning Point USA, I like to watch because I feel as though they...
See, look, girl, this is what I'm talking about. You ain't got to be pumping every time you pick that phone up. You could have pumped before you did this. This is exactly what I'm talking about, Heather.
They say things that most people are thinking but won't say. There is one beef that I have with them, and this is it. I keep hearing the rhetoric that racism doesn't exist systemically. That's a lie. I mean, you're gaslighting to say that. The other day, Xavier and I were at Walgreens, and we literally watched while this guy tried to run out of the store with like some Easter gift for like a little girl and some toilet paper. This person is pleading with security that he needs the toilet paper, that it's for his family. You don't understand how it feels to not be able to wipe your butt until you don't have any money to wipe your butt.
Exactly. Why do you think that everybody that you're talking to has not been in that situation? That's what aggravates me about you, Heather, is you think that everything is just about you. Nothing has happened to us, you know? But in reality, we're the fucking soldiers, and you look like a fucking loser right now.
Okay? Now, what happens when you don't have money for things like toilet paper? Okay, so what happens when you don't have money for things like toilet paper, we can naturally conclude that you probably also don't have money for things like shoes, clothes, etc., and so forth. Now, if you don't have money for those things and you're a family unit, who in the family is probably going to take it upon themselves to steal those things? The father.
Why is
right?
this a conversation? Like, sometimes I wonder, like, are you that bored you just make up this shit? Like, why are we even talking about this, Heather?
Because when we value traditional gender roles, we're not going to ask a mother who's postpartum or a mother who's sitting home cooking for the children that.
Did you tell Xavier to steal something and he's saying, no, I'm trying to get my life right, and you're mad? Because this sounds really weird.
She has to go commit a crime to obtain those things. So the father, in a traditional gender role, honoring the woman, is going to put that burden on himself, and he's going to go to the store and he's going to commit that crime. So he goes to prison. Now we have fatherless households. Poverty is a result of slavery.
Girl, you reach it way too far. You hurting yourself. You better stop.
Poverty, okay? And there are white people who were slaves too, but for the overwhelming majority, let's look at the civil rights era, okay? You are blatantly denying the reality of a huge portion of Americans when you say things like, this type of racism doesn't exist. When we fill our prison systems with people who are in prison for committing crimes that they needed to commit to take care of their families. I'm not saying it's acceptable. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is whether you find it acceptable or you can understand it or not, denying that it took place and that it exists is not the answer. We've overcrowded our prisons.
Okay, you know what? I think you're just confirming that yes, Mama Bear, I am on Adderall. I don't know what we're doing here.
Systems with people who have been committing crimes to support their families.
And she's about
there are people who go in there for other reasons, yes. But we need to, Turning Point USA, this is for you. Address it. You are the most intelligent group I have ever met, I've ever seen, I have ever heard. You speak on things that are real and they make sense. Acknowledge that there is a such thing as systemic racism. Acknowledge that we put these people, these tremendous demographics of people in this position, and acknowledge that
I can't. I'm not even. I guess you put gaslighting on there. Whatever.
we can fix it. We can fix it fairly simply. As I said before, there are studies where people.
This bitch wants to fix racism or the thought of it, but she can't get herself out of a tent or a job or at a house. It's crazy, bro.
People who are wealthy people were put into studies for 100 days, 300 days, whatever this remote period of time is, and they were given no money. Then they were put through the same thing with a stipend of as little as $300 to $400 a month. A month. All of a sudden, no one's going to prison. All of a sudden, no one's stealing toilet paper. All of a sudden, the police are not being, called heavily to respond to these areas. As little as $300 to $400 can keep people from committing these crimes.
That's it's so funny. Isn't that about how much she gets in cash assistance plus her food stamps? And I'm sure Xavier's still helping.
But we continue to choose to do what with this money? Where is this government funding going? Acknowledge it. Like, stop gaslighting, saying that it doesn't exist. That's not the answer to or the solution. It exists. I agree with you. No one should be stealing or doing this and that. So let's make a way for it to. And just for the record, I don't believe in reparations. I don't believe in it. You can hate me for it if you want. I don't believe that I, who am also living in poverty, doing my darndest to survive right now, and going through hell myself, should be held liable or responsible for some shit that maybe my ancestors, maybe not my ancestors did, I don't know how long ago. I've never owned a slave, and I respect all people regardless of race or color. So no, I don't think that I should be at a deficit to support you. What I do believe in is.
But why are we supposed to be supporting you? And why do you look so crazy?
Opportunity for all. An equal, even playing field. No, we are not born equal. No, we cannot all do the same jobs, but we all deserve the same chance to survive, to thrive, to function outside of prison, outside of mental health institutions, safety, peace, income, opportunity. Like, it's humanity. It's being a decent human being.
Okay, 6:02 p.m. Okay, so day 17 postpartum. I am still very much not ready for weight-bearing exercises. Yesterday I did 2.5 mile walk. I'm pumping 4 to 5 times a day, 5 to 9 ounces each pump, and thinking of incorporating some stretching and balance exercise like one leg stands, etc.
I'm gonna try to do some girly push-ups. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do a full set. So this is what they mean when they say listen to your body, ladies and moms who have just given birth.
Look, she has access to this yoga mat. You see her tennis shoes in the background. Like, you think she would be off of social media going from, like, at the tent to the shelter. Because it's like she's living in a house. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine all those months in the tent on the street. And then all of a sudden you have this shelter. And I think she has the room to herself. It seems like it. And then her bathroom. It looks like she has her own bathroom. Her closet. She's able to do yoga. There's a fucking yoga mat. Like, she's living it pretty nice from where she was at. I'm surprised she's not more, like, appreciative and thankful and, like, eager to make things great again. Like, actually push and do what she needs to do. I think she'd be missing that tent life. I think a few of y'all think that too.
Okay. Oh, my upper body strength, you guys. And right now I can tell you, I already feel my pelvic floor very vulnerable, my abdomen very vulnerable. When you're doing anything that's weight bearing, you want to be very careful postpartum. You're at a tremendous risk for hernia if you overwork your abdominal. So, this is rough.
This is funny.
I'm gonna do 10.
Oh gosh, I don't know why I want to watch. I don't want to watch it though.
Maybe.
Just stop. Okay, stop.
And here are some of your thoughts on the cell phone question. So should the school be permitted to take the cell phone of a child who has it out during class? And should they be permitted to keep it from the child for a prolonged period of time outside of that actual class? Should they be given the phone back at the end of the school day? Should they be permitted to hold it overnight? This is what you guys have been responding so far. So just for the record, I did speak directly with the dean. Sounds like a really nice person, very understanding and patient with the kids. And my son has his main phone. My thoughts are this.
My thoughts are this. Why in the world would a kid need 2 phones?
I mostly agree with you guys. Yes, they should be permitted to take the phone during class. Classes for learning. If the child is using it, excessively. But also, some kids, they need their phone going home. Some kids, need to call for a ride or call their parents or tell their parents where they are. So outside of class, absolutely not. I agree with that. In addition, some kids have stress going on from home that's coming through their cell phone during the day.
There you go. That would be you, Heather. That'd be you. Yep.
And I think that the bigger issue here is that we are building a society where we are taught, even as adults, to not ignore our phones. And that is the standard that we're setting for our children.
Of course, I'm doing everything as per the usual. I'm a newborn mom, 10-year-old mom, and 2 teenagers mom. Superwoman. Wow, Heather.
So you guys literally have no idea what it's like to be a remote mom. Like, okay, we're in this housing situation. In the one morning that I decided to sleep in a few hours, I have calls from the eye doctor to see, are we still going on Monday or Tuesday? I have confirmed therapy for Monday. I spoke
Someone's in the background. Dude, stop freaking videoing.
with my youngest child yesterday. Oh my gosh, that was like the best thing ever. The big kids are at the mall and at home, so getting tabs on them. Showering and running down to get lunch before we run downtown to do a couple of laps just because I want to exercise little by little. And we got this 7-day pass, so it allows us unlimited bus rides for 7 days, and it expires Monday. Pumping 3 times already so far today, 6 to 9 inches each. I mean,
What? That was fun. This bitch has 6 to 9 inches each. What?
Each, and yeah, it's only noon. Weston's breakfast. Hi, you guys. So I just approved like another 100 or so people. And if you're new here, I just had a baby. Xavier and I welcomed a beautiful baby boy into the world on February 19th, Weston. And I am trying to get some exercise. It hasn't even been 3 full weeks yet. I also have 3 big kids, a 17, 15, and 10-year-old. We're at Navy Pier today. Rather than trying to go inside at a gym and get exercise, we're just taking advantage of this beautiful 45-degree day at Navy Pier. If you can see, we walked the entire length of the pier, and we're going to walk back and then probably try to catch either a church service or something on our way back. Xavier and I spent the entire duration of my pregnancy in a tent, pretty much begging for help and shelter. But because of the overwhelming number of people who needed the assistance, we didn't get it until baby was born. So we are in now, and we're out here.
Okay, so they're both, she's confirming they're both in there now. Okay.
Getting some exercise. So yeah, we're just trying to take advantage of the time that we have outside in this beautiful weather before we go back inside. We're very grateful to have finally obtained.
There you are. I feel like she keeps on trying to like block him from the camera. Hey, Xavier, what do you think about becoming a father?
The shelter assistance that we were seeking. My background is in healthcare. So if anyone is hiring for that, I'm looking for a remote coding billing position so that I could be home with our newborn and, continue raising my big kids. My oldest graduates high school this year, which is wild. And that's about it. We're hoping that this season of change is our season. Just leaning into God, full force, and asking that God walk with us through this fire. I've never been homeless before. I'm 37 years old. So all of this is new and humiliating. So thank you for joining us, and please keep your nasty comments to a minimum. Go figure, Navy Pier, a place for families and children. I've run into like 5 little babies and begun crying while walking. So I think we're just going to go try to find a Saturday evening sermon or someplace to pray. I have to say, leaning into God on this, you guys, this is tearing me up. Like, It's so hard. The amazing news from last night is that I was able to catch up with my 10-year-old. Oh my God, that kid put such a smile on my face, you have no idea. She is such a trip, and she's dealing with something right now. A little girl was shot and killed from her school. So she's seeing a therapist for that, and it's just tremendous what the kids go through nowadays, you guys. More reason to keep the family units together, you know. And let's talk about this. When we talk about foster care or adoption and the reason why I disagree with it so highly, do you guys know that these foster parents get paid? So why wouldn't we invest that money into the rehabilitation of the family unit?
Because obviously the family repeatedly showed that they honestly didn't even care about the family unit. Goodness gracious. Like, I can't, you need to just shut up, because you're just pissing a whole bunch of people off and you're really digging your own grave.
As opposed to giving it to a stranger. It just makes no sense. We have to.
A stranger. But you know what's funny is that stranger has people's kids. Isn't that crazy? Because they can't even take care of them. So y'all really have no room to fucking say anything right now. Like, if you were actually someone who was actually trying to get their shit together and actually realized and took accountability and fixed shit, I could understand.
Do better.
Before all the drama started in my life, that was my office. Third from the top, second from the right.
You're such a psycho. She always does that. Stop showing your offices or where I used to work. Window shopping. My gosh, I feel like this is back in the day.
My style, I think I may have carried this outfit when I'm not homeless. We're at Max Mara. You guys know, if you've been following for some time, you know for a fact that I love Max Mara. And their storefronts are always right on point. Spring 2024. This is the pumping room at 900 North. So all in all, I would say that there's way more opportunity to pump at Northbridge, because Nordy's has a semi-private pumping and feeding room. It's like a mother's room. So they have like a sofa like this, but it's like those long ones that can sit like 4 to 5 people. And you could literally just be like shoulder to shoulder, just feeding your babies. But this one only has one seat, and there was a lady in here changing her baby when I got in here. So I had to stand outside for like 5-10 minutes waiting. And then I think they close at 5 here, so I have to hurry. But I'm just grateful to find these 2 spots.
And someone is in there while she's recording. He could hear them closing the door.
It's like I told you guys yesterday, even the area hospitals don't have pumping rooms. It's the craziest thing ever. Like, actually, I think Northwestern might have a pumping room now on the 2nd floor by the food court. But I haven't checked it out yet. So if anyone knows, let me know. Just pump. And then when I'm done pumping, I use these adorable little bags from Zoomy. And I store the milk, and then we're storing it in the freezer.
Like, you can hear people in the background. How annoying. Just do what you gotta do. You don't have to get on the phone and do all that shit, man.
You can freeze up to 6 months worth of milk. And I did the same for all my other 3 children. I only breastfed until they were 3 or 4 months old, and I had enough breast milk to last them until they were 6 months. With Weston, I'm planning to breastfeed until he's a year old. So that I don't have to worry about just buying formula or him missing out on any nutrients or immunity. And not only that, but in the current situation of housing and things of that nature, I can only work remotely anyway. So it just makes sense. So yeah, we're saving all the milk in the freezer.
No one. Newborn moms. Also, I don't have any sexual contact as I'm only 18 days postpartum, but if that is a concern for you, lactation is a natural birth control. or have no interest in sex. I don't think that's abnormal as my body is not healed yet. Why are we about to talk about this?
Also still taking my prenatal vitamins. As a matter of fact, I have some waiting for me right now. But the vitamins and then eating 3 as balanced meals as possible. And I try to just have one like little sneak treat, something sweet. And that's it. I'm producing breast milk like a champ, like 30 to 40 ounces a day for every like 36 hours.
She acts like if you pump a lot of milk, then you are just God's gift to earth to have kids. It makes no sense. It doesn't have anything to do with the Heather. Stop bragging about how much you pump.
We're just freezing it off. I have to say it again. That last post, go back and read the comments in that last...
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go back and look at the video. I'm not going to read the comments. Sorry. Not sorry.
...post, and it shows you how privileged and entitled...
You are. That's you, Heather. You think you're so privileged and entitled.
An entire demographic of people, regardless of race, mostly based on age at this point. Read these comments, you guys. There are even black people in there saying, what? What do you mean? That's the victim mentality. Stop playing. Do you not understand? Let me explain how it works again, okay? When you take a look at all of the statistics from the years of slavery and coming out,
oh my gosh,
people had no money. Specifically those who...
Everything does not revolve around money. Will you shut up about money? It's like you're telling people, just like the other day, it was actually it was ridiculous. If they gave them like $300 to $400 and the crime rate dropped. Like, stop. You're way too old to be thinking that people owe you. Like, get up, get a job. You know how many people struggle? We have shit, but we still struggle. Like, but at least we have shit. And most importantly than that, we have our fucking family. Like, you're not doing anything. And it's so aggravating, honestly. Like, every time someone tries to give you the benefit of the doubt,
were being held as slaves. It takes forever and a day for them to catch up financially. When you don't have money, you have to steal. You have to commit other crimes to wipe your butt, wear clothes, wear shoes. And then you go to prison for those crimes. Now, there were some white slaves, but the huge majority of slaves were black people. Does anyone want to argue about that? Anyone? Now, when you talk about recovering from that, from being held as a slave, earning your own income, learning your own skill sets, we talk about oppression in the form of black people didn't even know how to read because they were enslaved.
What?
And there are a million different books that talk about how people wanted to teach black people to read when they owned them as slaves, and they got met with such adversity because they were literally told, when you teach a black slave how to read, you're teaching them how to free themselves. When you teach them anything, you're teaching them how to free themselves. And so when you deal with years and years of oppression in that capacity, they're at a disadvantage financially when you cannot afford to live. And so that's why we say knowledge is power.
I feel like she's sitting here like trying to plead her case to the judge through these stupid stories.
Right? Because no matter what you're learning, that skill set can free you. If you learn how to be an iron worker and you used to be a slave, now you know how to work with iron and you can earn a living.
Okay, Heather, then you go do that. Go learn something. So you go do it, make some money, make a living.
Wage. So when we're talking about the black father being removed from the home, and all these comments are like little white girls like, what did we do to remove the black father? That wasn't us. Well, it was white people who...
I'm fucking white, plus many of other things in between. I'm a little mutt motherfucker over here. But that's fine. And I don't take blame. I didn't do nothing to nobody.
Owners back in the day, and then government, whether they were black, white, orange, red, or green, refusing to acknowledge that when you live with no money, you have two choices: die or commit crime to live. I want Turning Point USA to acknowledge this. I want them to acknowledge this because I love Turning Point USA and I agree.
I don't understand why getting a job is not an option here.
Turning Point USA, I have so much respect and love for you guys, other than when it comes to this issue. You never acknowledge this issue. You argue with college kids and say there is no such thing as white privilege. White privilege is not even knowing these things. That is white privilege. And it's not just white, it's anyone who doesn't know. You could be whatever color, it's privilege, period. You could be black and not know these things.
It's
the truth. It needs to be understood.
I'm at the point though where I hope these people say, why don't you tag them? Are you scared to tag them? Because I want them to call you out so bad and rip you a new one. That would be glorious. Tag them, Heather.
The reason why there are a lot of fathers, black fathers, who are not in the home is because, as I said yesterday, if it's going to be the wife or the father.
Oh my, that's not why. That is not why. You're so stupid, and that's actually pretty racist of you to even fucking assume that's why.
Who's going to run into the store to steal toilet paper? It's going to be the father. And so if someone's going to get caught, it's also going to be the father. And that is why. Because when you live in poverty, you have two choices: commit crimes to survive or die. And then on top of that, you factor in a welfare system that it's a welfare system of entrapment. If you get a decent job that pays $1 higher than you're allowed to make, now you don't get welfare anymore. So people get incentivized to have more children, be single, and not work because you can't. I mean,
that's exactly what Heather's been doing too.
And it's not like these people are lazy. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult to get off of welfare, especially without an education. And when you add in the fact that most welfare programs, like look at Section 8, most of these women are not even allowed to have men in the house. In the house, you're not allowed to have a significant other. It's wild. I wish I was making this up. I've learned these things through experience. They don't make sense to me. I think we live in the best country ever. We need to figure this shit out. And who makes up the majority of the welfare system? So I'm just saying, like I said before, I speak from experience. I'm in debt from student loans. I am, for the first time in my entire life, accepting $400 a month in welfare. I've never had welfare cash assistance in my life before this situation. And if I get a job, they're going to garnish my wages for the $20,000 that I still owe in student loans. And if I don't get a job, then I have to live off of $400 a month. If I get a job that's minimum or a little over minimum wage, I get kicked off of welfare and they garnish my wages. What do I do? Oh, we made it to church.
Oh, good. That makes me so happy. Okay. Gosh, I really hope things are being removed.
Oh, we made it to church. I already feel better.
And since I don't have enemies to pray for, I pray for justice for me and my family.
So we came to a new church today. St. James, my usual church, only has very early mornings.
I was about to say, what church did you go to? Because usually the last service is 11. And sometimes there's like the Spanish mass is like at 12. But what time? She says 1:44 p.m. I wonder what kind of church that is. She looks like she took her Adderall.
Service, and I was very, very tired today. So we're here.
Yeah, she took her Adderall.
This is the church across from the John Hancock building in the Water Tower place. It is called...
Do you even know what religion it is? Like, she's confused. What church? Where am I? Like, are they worshiping the same God? Come on.
Fourth Church. So it's right on the corner of, I believe it's Huron and Michigan Avenue. Excited to be here.
Okay, so if this is the one that I just looked up, I think it's a Presbyterian church. What?
Excited to be here.
She's like, I'm excited to be here. Not sure who we're worshiping here. Xavier wants to play drums in the church band. They do communion? Okay, that's good. The gathering. Use this space to name people or situations you should like us to pray for. Thank you. 31024. Please keep my family in your prayers, specifically my newborn son, my 10-year-old daughter, and my 15 and 17-year-old son and daughter. Please pray for restoration and justice. Oh my gosh. I worked at Northwestern Hospital for several years. I am capable. Please pray for me. Also, that Xavier can be the man we need. Is that what it says? Wow. Okay. You didn't need to do all that. I'm gonna pump and dump this one. I got so frustrated while pumping it. I don't even want my son to drink this batch. Whoa, why? 1. Compassion. If you didn't grow up poor and had role models other than other poor people to learn from, you are what is referred to as privileged. Be grateful, not hateful. What? 2, if you and your family have not been afflicted with any of the true pandemics of America, substance abuse, poverty, sexual abuse, or other exploitation, etc., explore the perspective of those who have before you form a judgmental and aggressive opinion. I don't know. I mean, I had both of those happen to me, so I don't know what... I can't stand this privilege shit. Coming from someone who is so fucking entitled.
I do a lot of my social media watching while I'm pumping, or right when I wake up for the day before I get out of bed, and I'm just sitting here with my hands literally busy and physically I can't move around. And I have to tell you, I keep on coming across these very, very narrow-minded responses and influencers who just, they embody privilege. They absolutely embody privilege. On top of that, how do you refer to someone who's living in poverty as a degenerate? How do you make that work? They're degenerate because they're poor.
Y'all hear people walking in. Y'all hear the background. Like, she's in here recording. How have people not complained enough yet?
They're degenerate because they're poor, or they're poor because they're a degenerate.
Be grateful, not hateful.
Okay, so I just pumped and I'm literally going to dump it because I was looking at this really nasty, closed-minded perspective. And it's not the perspective that frustrates me. It's the fact that this is an account with millions of people watching, millions of views, hundreds or thousands of comments. We have to be so careful who we are allowing to reach the masses with this rhetoric. It's just not going to be, it's not good. It's not productive. It doesn't help the world in any way. So I have so much milk, but I'm literally dumping that. Like, I don't even want to feed.
I don't understand. Why are we dumping it? What's your excuse? I mean, I know why I would have dumped it. I know why you should dump it, but why? What's your excuse again for dumping it?
My son, any of this hateful milk, that's what I call it.
What the fuck?
So I want to show you guys. Okay, so I want to show you guys what goes into pumping. I carry this box around with me so the pump doesn't get damaged. I have to plug this into here, hook this up to each of the bottles, plug this into a power source. This is all the stuff that I have to wash every time
She acts like she's like the first person who's ever nursed in her life or fucking pumped in her life.
All the stuff that I have to wash every time I'm pumping. So this goes inside of this thing right here, and then this hooks onto the bottle. The bottle right here. The shield goes inside of here, and this is a Medela. I'm very, very grateful to have it. My insurance covered it, thank God. Then I pump, store it in here, or one of these lactation bags right here.
We told you
until I can get it back to the freezer. And I store everything in a Ziploc, all of the pieces with this, like, it's like cheesecloth or something. It's like highly absorbent, so that I'm not carrying a bunch of water. And this needs to be washed in between each pump. I use extra hot water and sometimes hydrogen peroxide. And for the record, I did this exact thing with all 4 of my children. So I always pumped breast milk. And this is Heather Gillespie for the record. And I fed all 4 of my children with breast milk. So for anyone who's been sending me DMs saying, you're not a mom, you're a model, you don't care about anyone but yourself.
You're a model? Did you just say people called her a model? I'm sorry.
I'm saying you're not a mom, you're a model, you don't care about anyone but yourself, you live in a tent and do photo shoots. Nope, never has that been my story. My story has been I was unlawfully thrown out of my apartment for no reason that makes sense. I began filing police reports immediately. That was in 2020. I chose to have my children stay with their fathers during that time. Prior to that, they had all primarily resided with me 5 or 4 days out of 7 per week. And I am still to this day the primary custodial parent in a primary joint custody outcome. So, and we have that in court. For anyone who continues to ask, I'm most certainly a mother, always have. So for anyone who's been sending me DMs saying, you're not a mom, you're a model.